Hello, welcome to the VOW Summit and to VOW Global. I'm Tambra Harck and I'm thrilled to be here with you. I'm the founder and teacher of New Evolution's Wisdom School, and I'm delighted to bring some of the rich soul work that we do at New Evolutions to you today. And to begin, I want to start off by asking you, do you believe yourself to be an emergent woman? Now, it might help if I give you some information about what I mean by that. So let's start with that not all women follow this particular soul's journey that has us become or be emergent women. It's unique to some of us, but I must say that there are lots of us, perhaps millions. I really don't know how many of us are called to this path. But I know that understanding aspects of what it is to follow this path and to live it leads us to a great, deep, rich life. One that has you feel and know yourself to be whole, to live from love and power and grace, and to bring the powers that birth through you into the things that you most care about, into your family, into your own life, into your body, into your home, into your community, into the world. It's one of the things that has me say that emergent women are among those who are contributing to this time of great change. So, maybe already you have a sense that you are an emergent woman. Let me tell you about what I know to be the common markers of an emergent woman's life path. And I can start by saying that I discovered this because I too am an emergent woman. Most of us have the experience that we, in our early years, which could go on to well into our 30s and 40s and maybe beyond, that we identify ourselves with our accomplishments. We have drive, we have resources, we have ambition, and we can put it to work. Now, we might not always meet our own expectations, because we also have expectations for our performance, for our achievements, for our accolades. And that might transfer to you for the way that you approached business or school or your body, and the ways that you were so focused in those earlier years on your drive to prove your worth. Strong words. That's why I say them slowly, is so that, wow, if they resonate with those years of being a teenager or in your 20s or 30s, that you were so focused on what you could achieve and accomplish in your life. This is what I think of as the first phase of an emergent woman's soul journey. It is lively in its own way, but it's not sustainable, and it doesn't speak through the soul. It's essential to the rest of the journey, however. So what I want you to know is that at no stage of the journey is anything wrong with how you've done it, how you're doing it now. It's simply that one makes room for and possibility for the next. And the next phase is not pretty for most of us. It's actually quite challenging, because it feels like it's the complete opposite in the worst way of how driven and accomplished and ambitious you've been. And in some ways, I'll say about the first phase that you may have felt that you were more of a man than any of the men in your life. It's a phrase I've heard so many women who identify themselves as emergent women to say. It's not particularly great for personal relationships with men. Gotta say, it doesn't work so well. And it's just the truth of where you've been, if this is your journey. The second phase. The reason I say that it seems like it's the complete contrast and the worst nightmare of the first phase is that nothing works anymore. As you know, the first phase was not sustainable, so you're probably exhausted. You might be sick. You might be injured like I was from a car accident and unable to heal in ways that seem unreasonable. You should be able to heal and correct and get on with it and perform. I couldn't. Maybe you couldn't even. Maybe you can't now. It's a challenging place, and it's essential to go through this phase, however long it lasts, in order to open to the possibility of wholeness. It doesn't necessarily have to last as long as most of us make it last. If you are as determined as I know I was in my early phase, this phase, I thought I could pressure through, I could power through, I could figure it out. I knew the roadmaps, my own personal templates for how I accomplished things. I could recreate that and apply it to whatever was on my table or on my plate or on my vision board. And I could do the template. It didn't work anymore. That's what's horrifying about it, really, is that what you know you can count on it. It doesn't work. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be sick or you have to be injured or that you have to fall into utter exhaustion. I hear that those things are often the way. It could be too that maybe relationships are crumbling, or your finances, or your home life, or your, like, literally, like I've known people like literally their home burnt down, and that was their passage into this path. What you're being invited into is to respond to perhaps a vow or a prayer or a soul's intention that you set maybe in the quietest recesses of your mind earlier on, that you would come home to the fullness of you. In the mythology that I discovered when I was in my own, they call this the feminine descent, when I was in my descent and life was crumbling and nothing was working, I discovered this ancient myth that dates back perhaps to 3500 BC. It's a long time ago. What I found encouraging about this information was that it meant nothing about growing up in the United States or in the eras that I'd lived, or it had nothing to do with our culture or our civilization or any of those things that seemed like it had to have to do with. It's ancient. It's something that lives through souls. That was encouraging to me because I could see that it goes somewhere. It wasn't just about the deconstruction. When I could see that, I knew that the next phase was what was calling. Oh, there's something I want to tell you. There's a stage in this ancient myth, which is the story of Queen Inanna and her sister Ereshkigal. There's a stage in the story or the poem that Inanna places her ear to the earth. And I love that image, and I've even laid my head down on the earth, which is not an easy thing to do, to feel the sensation of what it is to listen to the depths of understanding, to listen to the wisdom of the soul. I think of the ear as mimicking the shape of a nautilus shell, that if you held it to your ear, you could hear the ocean's echoes. If you place your ear to the earth, perhaps you hear the pulse of life echoing and calling you home to your true self. So in the story, Inanna places her ear to the earth, and in our lives, somewhere in our awareness world, probably not, we said a prayer or a vow or felt a desire rise up in us to know ourselves, to come home to ourselves, to feel whole, to live from love and in grace. Now, if that's the invitation into this second phase of deconstruction, okay, we got some underpinnings here that can hold this. True? The third phase is one that invites you into something that most people in that first phase would never imagine possible, and it's surrender. But pure surrender, not I give up, but the kind of surrender that says, okay, there's something more to who I am, to what I can bring to life, to what wants to emerge in me. And it requires a surrendering, an opening, a softening to make that possible. It might be the most challenging part of the path for most of us, especially if you're still identifying with yourself in that first phase. Like, oh, I want to grab back onto that reliable performance and ambition. The third phase opens you into a world of possibility. To me, this third phase of surrender creates like a fertile soil in which the seeds of your soul can be dropped, and you can reach down into the depths of who you are and what life has to offer through you, and bring that up and awake and into life, which brings us into the fourth phase of a full embodiment of the divine feminine. Now, I say feminine and I mean feminine. I don't mean the great mother, although she's part of it. I don't mean Isis, although she might be part of it, or Aphrodite, or Shakti, or any of the goddesses that you may feel akin to or repulsed by. I mean the feminine that feeds all of them is now available to you and through you, through your dreams, through your cells, through your body, through your expression, through the way that you see and talk to and through yourself, and to the way that you start to see your way of being in the world again, different, unlike what had been before. And yes, she's capable. You are capable, fueled with her. And as we move into the fifth phase, in our story of the ancient myth or poem of Inanna, she begins to come out into the world from the underworld. And in her outside in the world, she's partnered with the king. And this is an internal partnering of the masculine and feminine, both sides in you, right? This integration of the masculine that's now in service to her vision, this embodied knowing with access and deep wisdom and resources that were never available when you were only him. Now you're all of you. This is a journey of the emergent woman, and I love us. I love you. I love your passion and your courage. And I pray for your compassion for yourself along the stages. And I know that as so many of us are called to this path today, whether we've had the stories behind it or the understandings behind the phases, so many of us are called because now we are living in a time of great change. And millions of people around this planet are being awakened to their own contribution to this amazing time. That we can bring our bodies, hearts, souls, realms of possibility together in our contributions That part of us living in a great time is amazing. The challenging part of living at this time, of course, is the deconstruction of things we've relied on, or the not deconstructions of things that we really want to have go away. The atrocities upon other humans, ourselves, the planet, other beings. These are hard for us to take, and it's why we walk this path. I'm thrilled you're on it. I honor you. If you'd like to know more about the stages of the Emergent Woman's journey, I share more about us, her, on my website, and you'll find the link here on the VOW Summit. I'm truly honored to meet you here and to welcome you along the journey. Be well.